being a healer, how much does energy play into money and getting money and receiving money?
A lot.
So what's up, you guys? It's your girl, Bianca B, and welcome back. We have my good friend. I love her so much. We actually have the same name, Bianca Pitman, aka BU Beauty, girl boss, healer, soon-to-be mother. She is one of my closest friends, and my first episode had to be with her because I just love her so much, and she has helped me with my healing journey. And so I want to give a huge shout out to my girl, Bianca. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here as your first guest.
I know, this is so exciting. How have you been? How's life, first and foremost?
I've been blessed. 20 weeks pregnant. So we're about almost 5 months. Having a little boy named Seven in August, and he's just been blessing me a lot.
I'm so happy for you. So on this podcast, I like to talk about business, finances, and friendships, and I really want people to get information from each thing. And you have been an entrepreneur pretty much your entire life, pretty much.
Yes. I've started BU Beauty. I'm 34. I started BU Beauty when I was 21. So yeah, a long time now. Originally being in the hair and makeup space. I'm a hair and makeup artist for production for 10 years. Well, probably now like 12. And pivoted into the wellness space in 2017 after kind of like healing my own self and then just wanting to help other women.
That's amazing. And with business, since you changed your career and gotten more into the health and wellness and have bomb products that I've been using, I want to ask you, how do you know when to pivot in your career? Like, how do you know, like, okay, I'm not passionate about this, but I want to pivot. But is this a drastic pivot? I know some people are so afraid to like step outside of their comfort zone. So when did you know, like, I want to switch my business and to help them?
When I realized that I love doing hair and makeup, I love making people feel beautiful, whether it's internally or externally. But there's just so many people and not to say it's oversaturated, but there's just so many people in the beauty space, and then just people that somebody sits in your chair and it's like, make me look like this person and make me look like that person. And nobody really wanted to be themselves. They all just wanted to be like other people. And after just doing a lot of work with my own self and my own womb and connecting with myself in a more internal way, there's not many people that do what I do as far as being in the health and wellness space. So I just felt like this is where I need to kind of like pivot into, because you can always sit in somebody's chair and make, somebody make you look and feel good. But the internal part of what I do is not really, it's needed. It's needed more than hair and makeup.
And you say you started this business when you were like healed. You knew this shift. What is healing to you? Because people throw this word out there and like, how do you know when you're healed? Like, it's healing I say it's an everyday thing.
Yeah, I think healing is definitely an ongoing process. Because as soon as you feel like you healed in one area, then other things show up and it's like, you're not that healed. You know what I mean? So like some things you have to heal on your own, like being single and you just need that solitude and that time for yourself. But then there's other spaces where you'll feel like you're healed and then you get with a person and that's a different part of healing. And now it's like, oh, I need to heal as a companion. I need to heal in the space of a relationship, which you can't do when you're by yourself. And then just not being afraid of to sit with yourself and, have that alone, like we like to be alone. So it's really nothing for us. But I feel like the pandemic has opened up that space where a lot of people weren't comfortable with themselves. And, you're on lockdown, you got to stay in the house and stuff. Like can't hang out with your friends. And for the extroverts who really need that, like validation from other people and that energy from other people, it was really hard for people like that because they're so used to running from themselves. And now you have to kind of like sit. And even the parents got to get to know their kids in a different type of way because you're so used to just sending your kids off to school, So it was just, I think it's just really about taking that time for self and reflection and, you know, not being afraid to dig deep. And it's not, healing is not this always this beautiful butterflies and rainbows type of thing. It's really, you know, it gets really dark sometimes, you know, but you have to not be afraid of seeing those parts of yourself.
Got it. And what advice would you give to like the young 20 somethings, 29, like myself, the internal work before starting a business? What tips would you give? Because I feel like, especially when you have your name on something and it's your baby and it's your business, sometimes you're just not in the mood. Sometimes life gets to you. So, what are like some internal steps that people can take before starting a business or maintaining their business if they have one?
So like you said, like you're not always in the mood, you know, you don't always wake up with the energy or the inspiration to do the things that you put out there to do. And I think that's where the discipline comes in. That's where like the affirmations come in and you just listening to things that can motivate you. I really believe in like starting your mornings with intention, you know? So like how you start your day kind of pans out for the rest of your day. What is your mission? Why did you start? Always going back to like, why did you start?
Got it.
You know, remembering the why is important because that's the purpose of a mission statement. You know, it's like when you go back to your mission statement, that inspires you to know, like, this is why I started. And then always being in a state of gratitude, you know? So it's like, today I might feel a little messed up, but like, what are the 3 things that you're grateful for today?
Love
And
it.
it kind of just switches your mindset and switches your perspective and then just gives you that little oomph that you need to, you know, keep going.
And so now let's get into the finances part of a business. I know you just moved to LA a couple of years ago. It's been what, like 2 or 3 years now?
Yeah, so it's 2.5 years now. Time is
Yeah.
flying.
Yeah, no, it's going by fast. And so, there's some people who are afraid to take that risk to move to better their business. Have you seen a growth in your business financially from moving out of state? And do you suggest people to do that to elevate and grow their business?
So I have seen a growth financially, but more importantly, because finances are important, but I've just seen a growth in my target audience and who I'm here for.
Mm.
I've always wanted, you know, doing hair and makeup. Of course, it's like, oh, I want to go to LA and do hair and makeup for the stars and this and that. And it's like, yeah, that's cool, but like being in LA they're all mostly about like health and wellness, you know, as opposed to the East Coast. It's always kind of like a trend. Like they're getting on it, but it's not really a lifestyle like it is here. So sometimes you have to go where you're celebrated and not where you're tolerated, and like take that leap of faith and know that this space is where I need to be because this is where it's going to help my business grow. I've gotten opportunities here that I would never get on the East Coast.
Mm.
And even if I had got those opportunities on the East Coast, I would have to take a flight,
Mm.
you know, and do all these things where now I only got to take an Uber like 5-10 minutes to where I got to go to get these opportunities. So I have seen financial growth and I have seen just the expansion. If I was still in New Jersey, I would probably be like, people love my products in New Jersey. When I go to New Jersey and I sell products, I make good money even just going home.
Mm.
But I think it's because they see I'm out here.
Right. The mental, because it's like not a facade, but like people like that image of seeing you somewhere.
Somewhere else, you know, and it's like you're not really touchable now, you know. It's like we got to get her products now because she's not gonna be here for that long. But when I was there, you know, y'all can lollygag and be like, oh, I'll get products on this day or that day or whatever. So now it's more of a demand type of thing.
Got it. And how much, being a healer, how much does energy play into money and getting money and receiving money?
A lot. Mm-hmm. So it's all about, because money is energy. You know what I mean? Like prior to having the dollar bill, which we all know is kind of like going extinct soon, we had cattle and we bartered and stuff like that. And I just feel like you attract what your frequency and your vibration is. So like, not to say like my money is always where it's supposed to be at, because frequency wise, I'm not always emitting that energy.
Right.
You know, so it's just important to look at it on an energetic level as opposed to a tangible thing. It's like we have a scarcity mindset or a mindset of lack. And then it's like, well, why can't I have this amount of money or that amount of money, because you're emitting an energy that you don't feel deserving of that type of money. Low key, you could say you want a whole bunch of things, but it's like words and feelings have to match up.
Exactly. And like, what are 3 tips that you would give to like younger people that you wish you would have known when it comes to money and your business?
Having like some type of like business software,
Mm.
keeping track of like your receipts and your expenses and things, always having like a separate, like a business account and a personal account, taking less like Cash App payments and more payments through your actual payment system that you have on your website, because the more you have that paper trail of these transactions on your website, the more you're more likely to have them be able to like give you loans.
Got it. Oh, wow. That's
So
great.
they track you based off of your payouts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if I'm always taking Cash Apps, they don't see that. So like in a year, if you've made like a certain amount of money through that, say Squarespace, Square, PayPal, or whatever, they'll hit you up and be like, oh, you're eligible for some capital.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's $1,000, whether it's $5,000, but they go based off what you're producing in their payment system. Cash App and stuff is cool, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's very convenient, but it's not always helpful for the business owner who may want to, at some point get some type of capital.
I love
Um,
it.
I would
That's a
also
great tip.
I would also say don't build your business on credit cards.
Mm.
Um, because it's the easiest way to go into debt, you know. So I would say like, yeah, like the more you take those payments through your website, the more money you're accrued to have through the capital or whatever. And you can always then they take it out. Like you pay it back based off your orders that you make, and then take a little percentage of each order, and that's how you pay it back. And then once you pay it back, they'll give you some more money. Like, so I don't think a lot of entrepreneurs really know that.
And you do a lot of vendor events, and that vendor industry is really like different. I did my first one like last year, and I was like, "This is a lot." I'm like, "This is cool, but it's a lot. It's a lot of standing. It's a lot of like setting up, breaking down. Like,
A
how
lot of smiling.
right?" And so how has the vendor space been for you? Because I feel like you've executed that very, very well. How important is that in someone's business? And do you recommend people to do that frequently, or should you or not? What are your
I do think that you should vend. I think it's very good for visibility purposes as well. Like you may, every time you vend some space, you're taking a gamble. You don't know if you're even going to make your vending fee back. But that's all about betting on yourself. You know what I mean? And just knowing that even if you didn't make not one sale, your brand got recognized.
Yeah.
So like so now I'm in a space where before, like a couple months ago, I was doing East Coast and West Coast vending opportunities. Now I'm in a space where, because I've had certain opportunities, like we just had our products in the bags at the Oscars. Mm-hmm. So like the price is kind of going up for me, not to, say I'm better than anybody else, but I'm getting more opportunities where it's like, okay, my money has to be more strategic. So like, I'm not trying to get into every vending space. I'm past that, but if it makes sense for me, like, okay, how much is the fee? Is there going to be any press there? Like, just in case I don't make my money back, how am I benefiting still? Mm. So like on Saturdays out here in Leimert Park, I can go set up for free.
Right.
And even if I don't make a sale, when I'm in other spaces, they're like, oh, you're the girl who sets up in Leimert Park. And then they buy from me. You know what I mean? So it's always about the visibility as well. I don't think you should always go into a space trying to make a bunch of money. Of course, we all want to make money, you know what I mean? But then also look for spaces that you can afford to lose that type of money.
Yeah.
A vending fee maybe $75. Okay, I can do that, but I'm not going to do a vending fee where it's $150, $200, because I've done those too that didn't pan out well. So I think you just have to be strategic in knowing what works for you. But I definitely do think that every business should get into that vending space, but you don't have to stay there for long.
How do you ask for help? How do you know when you have a good team, especially when you've done it by yourself? You do everything. You make the product, which if you guys seen how she makes her products, like it's phenomenal. You have to be spiritually because it's a wellness and healing process. I even liked your vulnerability on your social media when you were like, you guys, like, I'm sick. I'm not feeling good. I want to make sure that I'm spiritually aligned with my product. And I love the fact that you not only market yourself, but market your business. It's a lot. Like social media in general and all these apps are a lot. So how do you know when you've found the team, and how do you know when it's time to like, okay, I can't do this by myself anymore?
And I feel like I'm still in that process. Like, I see like the universe aligning me with people. Like even my manager, I've met her years ago, but like she didn't start managing me until like last September. So, and I know you're going to get into the part of like building connections and relationships and how important that is. But so I just feel like for me, it's a spiritual thing as well. It's like, do we connect on a spiritual level? You know, what is your outlook on business? So right now it's more having the discernment.
Right.
And knowing that like it's more than even your qualifications. It's like, do we have the same like ideologies and values, and do you see where this brand is going? I shouldn't have to keep trying to sell myself to you in every conversation, you know. Do you use the products? Do you want what is your experience? I don't like people just, when I ask somebody like, oh, can I have a review? It's like, I've had people like, oh yeah, you can write it for me. No. Like,
Yeah.
I want you to speak from your personal experience. Even if you didn't like it, like I want you to speak from your personal experience. So I think it is more about just having that discernment and not wanting everybody on your team, just to have these people. And it's something that I'm still
It's an
working
everyday
through.
thing. It is definitely. And so the last portion, I'd love to talk about social media. How has social media, because I feel like a lot of people are now in the wellness space since the pandemic. They talk about CMOS, they talk about Yoni Steam, and they talk about, you've been doing this for a long time. Like people don't understand, like over 10 years. You started when you were 21 and you created these amazing products. How do you feel about social media and in your business, the pros and the cons?
So the pros of social media. Had I never been on social media, I would never met you.
I was not expecting you to say that. I know.
And that was like, how old? It's like 10 years ago.
2015?
Yeah, so almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so I think social media can be a pro in regards to building and establishing good relationships with people, getting their brand out there, whether it's not about, I've kind of got out of the vain part of it, like the likes and the follows and stuff like that. And it's just like using social media with intention.
Got it.
You know, being intentional about like, okay, even if 2 people like this, or if I get 300 views, that's 300 more people that seen the brand, you know? So then when you go in bigger spaces, like me going to the Oscars, gifting suite, I had like 5 people tell me like, I've seen this brand before.
Wow.
And, you know, so it just shows you that like you're on the right track. But you just have to be intentional with what you're doing, using social media as a tool as opposed to social media using you. So like, I don't just go on social media to just be scrolling all day,
Right.
you know, whether I'm on there so I can be inspired by somebody else's content and create my own, or can I learn something where I can like make this my own and teach my audience. So it's like, you just have to be intentional. Social media can be a con in a way of like bullying and trying to talk you out of your purpose. And you know, so I really felt like I was being tested because I also don't really, well, I'm getting out of the space of saying don't really, but enjoy public speaking. So had I took all of this negation and really let it and like really internalized it, I could have been like, you know what, I'm not even going to speak on Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, so I just feel like knowing your passion, knowing your purpose and why you're doing something has to be strong enough for you to have that thick skin and not try to persuade people or even comment back to every comment that was negative. You know what I mean? Because there's people here for you, and then there's people that's not here for you.
Exactly.
And you're not meant to be liked by everybody, because if you are, then you're not really being authentic. So that's the cons of social media for me, is just like the naysayers, and just being strong enough in your purpose to know like these people don't matter.
Exactly. I am so proud of you. You have been such a huge impact on my life, spiritually, mentally. We know our conversation. We've done many videos together, and we've also talked privately a lot. And she has truly helped me in like trauma bonds and like spiritual like you have helped me so much to elevate as a woman, and I'm so forever grateful for you. It's your girl Bianca.
Don't get me crying because I'm pregnant. Like
no, I really do love you, and I miss you so much, and I'm so proud of you. I know that you're going to be the best mother, and such a girl boss. And so where can people follow you?
At BU Beauty Official. It's BEYOU Beauty. Look at me. Official on Instagram. And then my website is bubeauty.com.
Yes, go check that out. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to this podcast and follow us. Yes. It's your girl Bianca B. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at It's Bianca B. Snapchat, go to itsbiancab.com. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in.